Good morning, 7th standard. So, today our topic is on conservation of energy. Okay, so it is about your conservation of energy. So, conservation means how you are going to limit or save the usage of your energy. So, before going into it, we have to know there are two types of energies. One is renewable sources of energy, and another one is non renewable source of energy. So, this is renewable, non renewable source of energy, and you have one more. The another one is called as your renewable source of energy. Okay, so this is renewable and that one is non-renewable. So what do you mean by renewable and non-renewable? So the source of energy which get exhaust after using for a million of years, it's called as your non-renewable. You cannot get it back. So once you have used it, you cannot get it back. That type of energy is called as your non-renewable source of energy. For example, you consider about your petroleum, your coal. So once if you burn them, it is lost forever and you cannot get it back, and it will take many years to form. So that kind of energy is called as your non-renewable energy. So the energy which you can get again and again even after a repetitive use, that is called as your renewable energy. So the sources of energy like sun, wind, water and biomass are unlimited to us in nature, so they are termed as your renewable source of energy. So whenever you start to use them in a very conservative manner, not to waste your non-renewable resources, because your non-renewable resources are only limited in nature, whereas your renewable resources are unlimited. So when you start using your non-renewable resources in a conservative manner, and that is called as your conservation of energy. For example, you may go to your nearby shop by using a bike. Okay, you can use a bike, so in which you have to use a petrol. In that case, you can avoid your bike. Instead, you can take your bicycle. You can take your bicycle, or you can go by a walk. That is your conservation of energy. There I am conservating the amount of petrol or the diesel. Similarly, whenever if your area is so breezy, if you're having more wind, then switch off your AC or fan. There is no need of your AC or fan, and in the daytime there is no need for your tube lights. If you have good sunlight peeping into your home, there is no need for lights and all. So all these means you are conservating your energy. Stop running your fans or AC when it is not necessary. So if you do all these things, which means we are going to conserve our energy. So there are some steps which they have mentioned here. So the next one is your pressure cookers. So pressure cookers for cooking, as they require less energy. If you want to boil something, if you just use a normal vessel and boil, it will take a lot of time. Whereas if you use a pressure cooker, it will happen within 10 minutes. Okay, so there we are conservating your LPG. LPG means is your, yeah, the cylinder. So there you are conservating your cylinder. So use biogas as a source of energy. If you go to the deeper parts of village and all, you can find they'll be using these kinds of systems. Use devices such as solar cells, solar cookers and solar heaters. All these are available in the markets, though they are expensive. They are used in conservating our energy. So next one is the law of conservation of energy. So what does the law of conservation of energy states? So have you ever wondered from where we generally used to get this energy, from where we get them? So if you consider about solar energy, you will tell from sun. So again, from where, how the sun is able to get that energy? So if you keep on questioning like that, we will arrive at one particular law which states that this energy is neither created and it cannot be destroyed. As a human, we cannot create it and we cannot destroy it. If you are going to create, it is destroyed in one point. If you are going to destroy, it is created in the another point. So for example, let us consider a simple. So for the conservation of energy, let us consider a simple conservation. So let me take a chemical energy which is changing into heat energy. So consider an example. You have a list of examples which is given in your textbook. So first consider this example. Let me consider a fossil fuel, or a fossil fuel or a matchstick or a petroleum, anything. Okay, so let me take a fossil fuel, or you consider that is a petroleum. Okay, now I'm going to burn it. If I burn, I'll get heat energy, and plus you will also get your light energy. That is in another category. Now what is happening when I burn this fossil fuel? Here my energy is getting destroyed, the chemical energy is getting destroyed, and in terms I'm getting in another form, that is my heat energy. So if you are destroying at one point, it will appear, it will reappear as a new form of energy in the another point. That is what it meant by energy is neither created nor destroying. If you are destroying here, it is created here. Okay, if you are destroying in one form, it is created in the another form. So that is why we say energy can be neither created nor destroyed. So this simple law is called as your conservation of energy. Okay, according to the law of conservation, energy can be neither created nor destroyed, whereas the total amount of energy remains a constant, because I'm not going to create at one point. So if I'm going to lose one form of energy here, the other way I'm going to gain the same amount of energy. So it is always going to be a constant. Okay, it is going to be constant and it will not change. So it can always transfer from one part to the another part, or one form to another form. So here we saw chemical energy is changing into heat energy and light energy, yes or no? So if you burn a petrol, what will happen? You will get heat, plus it will also produce the flames which will produce your light energy. So this is an example of your law of conservation of energy. It's called as your law of conservation of energy. So now we will see some of the examples given over here. So when a ball is thrown vertically upwards and it's rising up, it possesses both kinetic and potential energy. So we'll see how it works. So before going into it, now you have to recap what is your kinetic energy and potential energy. In some of your previous video, you would have shown what is kinetic energy and potential energy. So no? Yeah. So kinetic energy is the energy possessed by whenever the object is in motion. Okay, whenever the object is rolling, or if a person is running, if you're throwing a ball, if it is going up and if it is coming down, in all those cases it is called as your kinetic energy. So what do you mean by kinetic energy? Whenever the object is in motion, it's called as your kinetic energy. And the next one is potential energy. Potential energy, whenever the object is in rest or in a particular height, if it is raised to particular height, okay, if it is raised to the particular height, or if it is in rest, it is called as your potential energy. So we will see how does your kinetic energy and potential energy working here. So what is our example given? A ball is thrown vertically up. So let me take this as my table surface, and I'm going to place a ball here. Okay, I'm going to just place a ball here, and after some time I'm going to throw it vertically up. So vertically up means it has been raised to a particular height, so it is going till this point. Okay, it has reached till this point. So now what is happening to the ball? The ball will also possess kinetic energy as well as your potential energy, because it is in motion, it is reaching a maximum height, and what is happening to it? This is your ground surface. Okay, the ball is thrown vertically up, so it is at this particular height. Okay, it is thrown, I'm sorry, I'm drawing wrongly. A table surface, the ball is thrown vertically up. Let the height, the distance between this table surface and the ball be 5 meters. Now what is maximum here? Your height. So when the ball is at a particular height, it will have only potential energy, because it is at its maximum height. Okay, it will have only potential energy. Now what is happening? The ball is coming back. Okay, the ball starts to come back. Okay, so once it comes down and down, you can see the height is decreasing, yes or no? At each case the height is decreasing. So at this distance let it be 4 meter, at this distance let it be at 3 meter, and this distance let it be at 2 meter. So in all these cases you can find the height decreases. So when the height decreases, what will happen? Your potential energy decreases, but the ball is in motion. Since the ball is in motion, it will possess your kinetic energy. Okay, it will possess what energy? Kinetic energy. Listen, so at this particular height, let me take it as 5 meter, and this is at 4 meter, 3 meters, 2 meter. Okay, this is your 5 meters. Okay, let this distance be 5 meter. This one is 4 meter. This one is 3 meter and this one is 2 meters. Okay, this is 3. I'm sorry. This is 4, this is 3, this is 2 and this is 5. So when it at its maximum, it will possess your potential energy. So once it comes lower and lower and lower, your potential energy will decrease and in turn it will have its kinetic energy. So when it reaches the bottom, it will have more kinetic energy because the velocity increases. So this is one example where you can see your kinetic energy and potential energy keeps on varying at each point, but the sum of them will be the same. So the next example is your roller coaster. Okay, it is your roller coaster. So this is of your roller coaster will be like, you'll be having a roller coaster like this. The same concept you are going to apply here. So imagine your roller coaster is going at this point. So this will be at your maximum height. So whenever it is at maximum height, you will have potential energy, and when it comes to the minimum, you will have your kinetic energy, and in between you will have the sum of potential energy, kinetic energy. So roller coaster also, it's a same kind of your a ball which is going up and going down. The next one is your simple pendulum. Okay, it's your simple pendulum. Okay, you all know how does a simple pendulum. Simple pendulum consists of a bob. So once when you set into oscillation, the simple pendulum will go like this. Yes or no? You understood? This is your mean position O, this is A, and this is B. So at the mean position, okay, at the mean position, what is happening to it? It will possess only kinetic energy. So as it goes longer and longer, the potential energy increases because the height is increasing. Okay, if you draw and you can see your height will get increased in this case. So as your height increases, potential energy, height decreases, it comes to kinetic energy, and in between the sum will be the same. So in all cases, your law of conservation of energy is working. So based on this, I'm going to send a video. You can watch that animation video and it will be helpful for you. The next one is your interconversion of energy. We saw law of conservation of energy states that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it can converted from one form to another form. So we will see how it is getting converted here. So first, now take your heat energy. Your heat energy can be converted into mechanical, your heat energy can be converted into electrical, your heat, okay, so this is one conversion, and your chemical energy can be converted into heat energy. Now look here. So heat to mechanical, where you can see this in your steam engine. Okay, in olden days you can find steam engine where they will use a coal, the coal will burn, and that steam will be used to run your train. So that is one conversion. Next one, heat energy to electrical energy, thermocouples. Okay, thermocouple is a system where a difference in heat energy is used to drive my electrical energy. Next one, electrical energy to heat energy. The example is heater. You switch on your heater, what happens? The water gets heated over there. So electrical energy is converted into heat energy. Now come back for this one, chemical energy to heat. Okay, this is chemical energy to heat, burning of your fossil fuels. Just now we saw burning of your fossil fuels. So next one, mechanical to electrical. How do we convert? It is your dynamos. Electrical to mechanical, it is your motor. Okay, so dynamos is used to convert mechanical to electrical. Best example is your so the best example here will be your generators. The next one, electrical energy to sound energy, microphone, doorbell. Okay, electrical energy to sound energy to electrical energy, microphones. Electrical to light, first one, bulb. You switch it on, the bulb works, by which you will get your light energy. Light energy to electrical energy, solar cells. Okay, solar cells. So what light energy means? It is your solar energy, your sunlight. Okay, these solar cells will absorb the sunlight and they will produce electricity. That is the arrow indicating light to solar. Next one, light to chemical. The best known example is your photosynthesis. So let us come for this one, chemical to electrical, battery. chemical to electrical. You all have the small battery in your home, right, which you'll use for your remote cars, your remote. So there you have your a dry cell. Inside a dry cell you will have a chemical. The chemical converts and gives us your small electrical energy. The next one, electrical energy to chemical energy, recharging of battery, the reverse process of it, it's called as your electrical energy to chemical energy. So watch all these, I'll send the videos. If you have any doubts you can ask me. Thank you.